Welcome to Bookie's Place. How was your weekend? How are you guys doing? And you know what we do at Bookie's Place? We don't talk about the glit or the glam. We talk about the grit and the grind. And we bring your favorite people to share their life's experiences. And today, we have in the building the phenomenal, the dynamic Osakioduwa. It's going to be amazing. So ladies and gentlemen, drum roll for the one and only Osakioduwa. Yes, y'all.
How you doing? It's been a minute.
How are you?
I'm good. It's been a minute. How have you been?
I am great. It's been a very long minute, man. Good to see you.
Good to see you too. Good to see you too. You look
It's
well.
okay.
You look well.
Listen, man, I know you're very busy, man. I'm
It's
just
been
going
one of
to
those
go.
hectic days, but I'm glad to be here with you.
Thank you so much. I appreciate it. When was the last time I saw you?
Whew. I really couldn't tell you, but I'd say I'd put it somewhere around 15 years.
Whoa.
I
Whoa.
don't know. I'm guessing. Probably.
It's so good to see you, man. Thank you so much for coming to Bookie's Place. And I'm
Thanks for
going to brief you about what we do here. In a world where everybody's talking about things that don't matter, we talk about the things that really matter. We practically equip people with our journey, so that they can do destiny. We're not giving them candy floss or whatever. This is real tools that people can use. And the way we do it is you share your journey. You just share your story. And, we pick out the tools from there, the times life tried to knock you down and kick you out, but you looked life in the face and you said, no, not today, life. No, we're not doing that, So
Yeah.
welcome to Bookie's Place. Bookie's Place is about ordinary people in their ordinary lives doing extraordinary things. So when I shut up now, it's over to you. You start from the beginning where you were born and we flow with you. Wherever you go, we go.
Oh wow, that's a wide open road, and I don't think Instagram has enough time for it. And that's probably something people say, but it is the truth. Um, I come from a big family, as normal as families go. I have four siblings, all from same mom and same dad and stuff. And for the American audience, that seems strange to say, oh, same mom, same dad. But in Nigeria, we have families where you have mixed parenting, sort of, where you have several moms and one dad, maybe. But in my case, it's just one mom, one dad, and they're 5 kids. My dad was in the army, so that meant traveling all the time from state to state. We're always the new kids in school, the new kids in the neighborhood, constantly on the move. And that in itself helped us. It's played a major role in how I've developed in life. And I'll probably come back to that later on. Somewhere along the course of my life, I decided, at first I wanted to be in the army like my dad.
Wow.
Yeah, but at some point I decided I wouldn't be a great parent if I did. So
Why?
well, my dad, for instance, was always on transfer. So we were always playing catch up with him.
Okay.
He would move to Kaduna, a state up north. We would move up north to meet him. They would transfer him out east. We would try to move out there. And each time you move, it's uprooting yourself and then getting all your stuff together and moving and then laying down roots, joining the new school, registering with the new hospital, getting your post office box. And almost as soon as we would get to him, each time he would move on again to somewhere else. And that was difficult for us. So I thought about it. My dad was constantly away for the major, well, I would say, milestones of my life, moving from primary to secondary, secondary to university. He was never around, so I never had the opportunity to have those discussions with him about what life would be like or what decisions to make. So I didn't want that for my son. So I decided, no, I wasn't going to join the army. Funny enough, the next thing that came to my mind was entertainment. I've always wanted to be an entertainer, a radio presenter particularly. And as soon as I ruled out the army, the next thing was the radio. And it was a tough journey. It wasn't as smooth as I thought it would be. Radio wasn't big back then in Lagos. you had to be really determined to be a radio presenter or a dropout. It's one of the two. Uh, that's just the truth. It wasn't a career for people who had options. It was a career for people who were either blinded by their passion or who life did not present many options. So it wasn't something my parents took too keenly. I remember after graduating with my BSc in economics, I decided I wanted to be a radio presenter, and I was going to chase after it and do it. And I started out with a lot of passion. I'm going to do this. And then I realized just how hard it was to go from station to station, hauling a demo and trying to see the executives and get them to give you a chance to prove that you were worth it. I remember going to one radio station and I was told by the person who auditioned me, like, nah, no, you don't really have our station's thing. And so he turned me down for their station. And then he proceeded to do me the favor of turning me down for the other stations in the state. And he told
How
me,
did he do
yeah,
that?
yeah, he said to me, no, you don't have our thing. And he called the name of the station. Then he went on to say, in fact, you don't have this station's thing, you don't have that station's thing, you have that station's thing. He says to me, I think you need to move out of state and go to Ibadan. Now, for those of you who are not Nigerian, you might not understand the context. It's like telling somebody you need to move out of New York and go to
Ohio.
Iowa. You need to move from New York or from LA, and you'll probably be big in Iowa, or Ohio, and you're like, come on. So that was a tough stage, and eventually, how I got the job was by just sheer determination. I picked a station and I dug in. I would go there every day, with my demo. The head of programs, whose job it was at the time to hire me, listened to my demo and thought, oh, you're interesting. This could make for great radio, but we just don't have the space for you. That was the first time that someone had turned me down nicely. So I decided, since it was one of the stations I really liked, I was just going to stay there and get that job. They said, oh, we don't have any space in our Lagos station, but you would probably do well on radio. I said, okay, no problem. So I came back the very next day and waited it out. He was like, what are you doing here? I said, well, I'm still hoping for this job. He said, but I told you yesterday that we don't have space in our Lagos station. I don't know that I would recommend my line of action to anybody else because he was very aggressive and it was bordering on irritating. Bottom line, I spent 3 months in that radio station's reception, coming every day, sitting there all day, waiting for me to have this job. And so one day the guy comes out to me and says to me, what are you still doing here? There's absolutely no job for you. I've told you nicely, I've told you we like you, but there's no space. What more do I need to explain to you? And I said, I get that, and I'm not trying to put you under any pressure. But somebody at some point is going to mess up and get fired. Somebody is going to take what they have for granted. Somebody is going to lose their job or get transferred, or somebody might quit. On the day, whatever means it happens, on the day that opportunity presents itself, I don't want you to have to think twice about who you're going to hire. I'm going to be right here in your reception on that day. And I think I wore him out and he just got tired of seeing me there. But funny enough, what happened, if I'm going to be entirely honest, after doing it for 3 months, going there every day for 3 months, I became friends with the security guards. I was friends with the receptionists on a few occasions. She'll tell me, look, I'm running to the bathroom. Could you just watch the phone for me? For real. That's how used to seeing me they were, But I never got past the reception. And after 3 months, I got really, really exhausted with it. I got tired and I was frustrated. This is why I said I don't know that I can even tell people in all honesty that this was what got me the job. I was just there, but I don't know that it was exactly what got me the job. So after about 3 months, I was tired, I was exhausted, and I decided to go do something else one particular day. And a friend of mine called me. He's like, where are you? I think I was in Unilag trying to get my transcripts, trying to dust up my degree to find a real job, And he called me. He said, "Where are you? Where are you?" I said, "I don't know. I'm in school trying to get my transcripts, get my results in order. Yeah, like to go find a real job. Like when you graduate from university in Nigeria, what you do is you go to the university you graduated from, get all your details, your certificates, and all of that. I hadn't done this all this time because I was chasing this radio job. So that day I decided I was going to go do it. While I was doing that, this friend called me and said, "Where are you? What's going on right now?" I said, "Well, I'm in school, trying to get my details because I want to go and get a job." And he said to me, um, the radio station you've been trying to hire, they want to hire you." And I'm like, "Okay, wait, what happened?" Now he was in their office making a presentation to them for a website. He wanted to build their website. Somehow, right, he had gotten a hold of one of the many demos I had distributed, and it happened to be in his CD-ROM. Wow, this was way back when. So anybody born recently is not going to understand what I'm talking about. But he happened to have the demo CD in his CD drive, right? And somehow in the course of his presenting to them the various capabilities of the website, my CD played. And they listened to it and thought, "Oh, this must be one of our radio presenters." And they were like, "Which of our presenters is that?" And he said, "No, this isn't one of your presenters. This is someone who has been applying to your station every day for 3 months, and he doesn't have the job." And the president of the company was like, "Why not?" They were like, we don't know, but he doesn't have the job." So he said, "Call him right now. Let's hire him right now." So he didn't get the job for the website, but I got the job for the radio station. And they
Wow.
called me, they're like, "Wherever you are, come through right now. You have this job right now." So
Wow.
that's how I got on the radio. And I worked for them for 18 years.
Wow.
Yeah.
Was it that the guy didn't show the president your demo?
No, you never, with entertainment, the truth is you don't get all the way to the president easily. You get through the front door, then you get to the manager, then you get to the person who matters and who has the say so, and he has the right to say yes or no. And many times he won't even let you go past him to speak to the next person. So that was my way in, but it wasn't my way up. When I got into the radio station, even though they said, "Okay, we're hiring you today," the president loved me and said, "Oh, you're exactly what we need on the radio station." The manager who had refused me, he felt a bit slighted that the instruction came from above him. So he benched me, all right? And to be quite fair to him, he was a really nice guy, but I think it kind of rubbed him up the wrong way as well. And that happens to any system when you don't follow the due process and you come in from the top. Yeah, the whole system reacts to you negatively. So I remember he took me and said, "Okay, well, we're not going to give you a show yet. You're going to understudy one of the other presenters." And maybe the presenter had heard a thing or two about me that he didn't like. I don't know. I came in and so he says, "Okay, this is the presenter. You're going to be understudying. Just do what he tells you." So I'm like, "Cool, whatever." He leaves me with this presenter, and the presenter says to me, "Okay, go sit in that corner. Don't speak until you're spoken to. Yeah, and don't do anything. Just sit there." And foolishly, I sat there for quite a while and did nothing. I didn't learn anything. I didn't, get anywhere close to the microphone. I didn't understand the console. I couldn't ask questions because I would get irritated whenever I tried to ask him questions about stuff. So I wasn't learning. I was there, but I wasn't learning. And that went on for almost 6 months. Yeah, just sitting in the corner, fetching things, and just, I was a tool. Eventually, one day, I get the lucky break. They decide, "Oh, you've been here a while. It's time for you to have your own show." Now, bear in mind, I've learned nothing in the time that I'm there. This is why I said it was foolish of me to obey that instruction. One day, I get a chance to be on the radio. He says, "You're going to have your own show. You're on a graveyard shift tonight. You're going to handle rap culture," which was on from about 1 a.m. to 3 a.m. So I'm like, "Okay, great. My first day on the radio." I get on. I'm prepping to do all my stuff, thinking I'm I'm going to have assistance from the DJ. In Nigeria, when we say DJ, we mean actual disc jockey, not radio presenter, right? So there's a radio presenter and then there's a disc jockey. At least that's how we started out. So there was a DJ in the studio and he understood how to work the studio. So I thought we were going to do it together, you know. I would speak, he would play the music. But he stood up, I thought he was going to get coffee or going to get water or something, and left the studio without saying bye-bye, right? And music was playing, and then some security guard walks in and he's like, oh, that song is almost over. I'm like, yeah, do you know where the DJ is? And we're like, oh, he left. So I was like, oh, right. So he's like, you're up, dude. So I jumped up, realizing I have no knowledge of how to work this. This was way back in the day, right? This was about 19 years ago. So we still have LPs. CDs are kind of new, you know. So I slap on the first LPM. I figure out which control controls it. I put it all the way up. I put it on. I don't know how to cue it from the start. I cue it from the middle, you know, and there's swear words. Guys, F this, F that. I'm like, Jesus, Jesus. Now the microphone is on. People can hear me going, Jesus, 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 Jesus. You know, like I rip off the LP with this, you know, from the pin. So you hear it goes, you know, like that nasty sound. You know, I put in the CD that I just find nearby, slap it on. This is in June. I put on the CD, press play. It's a Christmas song. You know, like I'm like, that's it, guys. I'm fired. You know, eventually, I figure it out and I start to play the music. But it was a very, very terrible first day on air. I was sure I was fired after that. But somehow my bosses didn't hear the show, so I got away with it. But after that day, I decided I will never, ever again be without knowledge for what it takes to do what I'm called to do. So I took it upon myself to learn everything in that studio. What they didn't teach me, I explored, and I became the best person at handling that studio. I was still regarded as casual staff at this time, not even full-time staff, right? Because when it came back to the manager, he refused to hire me as full-time staff. So I was casual staff, which means I was on the level of the janitors and the cleaners in terms of earning and in terms of respect. I could be let go.
Yes.
My big break came when the government had an issue with our petrol here in Nigeria, our fuel, and the cost of it. There was a strike, bottom line, and people couldn't get around town because petrol stations, people didn't want to buy the fuel, so there was a strike from the labor unions, and people were sitting at home. It was a tough time, sort of like lockdown. So there was no movement in town, nobody's getting around. And the radio presenters also decided, you know what, we're also not coming to work, right? And rather than join them and sit back from work, I decided this was my big break. So I moved close to work. I had an aunt who lived nearby, and I moved in with her. I said, I need to be with you for about 2-3 weeks if you don't mind. And she said, cool. I moved to her house, and on her way to work, she would drop me off at the top of the street. I would walk to work from there, and then I would host the radio shows from 6 a.m. to 6 p.m. So I would do the morning show, single-handedly, yes. The morning show, the late morning show, the afternoon show, the early evening show, and then I was end with the 6 p.m. When the 6 p.m. bulletin goes, I would leave. But I was doing 12 hours a day on the radio, 12 hours, killing it every day, 12 hours, playing all the music, doing all the presenting, all of it, for 12 hours every day for about 2 weeks. And that was when my bosses realized, oh, this dude knows what he's doing, and they felt it was a very odd thing to do because all the presenters were in sync, and I stood out from them while they were doing their union thing and said, look, you guys great, but I need this job, so I'm going to do this job, right, and get it done. And it got me into a place where they realized I knew my stuff. I was better than some of the presenters who were regarded much higher than me. Got me several promotions. as the years unfolded, I became the head of department, the head of the station at one point, and it was my, I think it was my route up. You know, being
Mm,
willing to do the work. You know, and not just um, do accept the circumstances that everybody else was accepting, saying, "Oh, well, it's not convenient, so we're not coming to work." And nobody could. They knew they wouldn't be fired. They knew labor unions would protect them, so they couldn't be. Nobody could say, "Okay, you didn't come to work, so you're fired." It was a state problem, sort of how the lockdown was recently. So my company, it bought me the kind of favor with my company that I think till the day I resigned, nobody could compete with that favor. And it was just, I think, altogether a, a, a very crucial moment in my life, making the right decision that I will do this. I will do this work. I'm going to fight this fight, even though it's single-handedly. Yeah, and I think
mm.
it was quite a thing that got me my position on radio, you know, which
Wow.
eventually led to other things and other jobs in my life.
Wow.
But it was a rough and a hungry time.
You can say
Very
that
hungry.
again.
Yeah, it was rough and hungry. I didn't have time for anything. I didn't have money for anything. I couldn't buy things. I couldn't buy new clothes. I could barely afford gas. Um, it was a tough, hungry, really hungry time in my life. You know, um, I think one of the lowest financial moments of my life ever. You know.
Wow.
But I had gained all this popularity because people started hearing me a lot on the radio. That people thought, oh, you must be balling, and I'm like, if only you knew, you know, if only you knew.
Wow. If you
Yeah,
were to talk to someone now listening, they have a dream because you said something really key. You said that you would never go into battle without your weapons ever again, you know? Talk to someone in that situation. They want to like learn a trade or do something, but they're like, I'm waiting for this person to do this for me and that for me, mommy, daddy, and all that.
you know, I hear a lot of the kids nowadays, and they want to be hip hop. That's where I put it. They want to be superstars. They want to be celebrities and influencers, and oh, I'm a social media influencer, and I'm like, listen, you know, you've got to develop a skill. I'm one of those people who believes everybody in life is gifted. Everybody has a gift, at least one gift, something you're graced with from God that nobody else can do the way you do. But your gift means nothing if you can't turn that gift into a skill. I always believed I was gifted to be on radio or in media. I believed I was funny, but I didn't have skill with my gift when I started out. Right? It's skill that makes the difference. People don't pay for gifting; they pay for skill. Skill is what makes people give you money, amounts of money. It's because they know once I have paid you, I have a settled issue in this area. Now, so if there's anybody out there who wants to be great, wants to be popular, wants to be famous, wants to be a celebrity, you're pursuing the wrong thing if you haven't gotten your skill in order, your skill set, right? Being on social media, right? Yes, I know how much money it makes for people, but how many people can actually say they are skilled at it? That they're skilled, so skilled at social media that they can predict trends, that they can provoke trends, and that their tweeting about something can literally be measured to show how much influence it has over a brand. Every Tom, Dick, Joe, and Harry right now believes they can be an influencer. You know, I can influence people just by tweeting, and it's not true. You can have 3 million followers and still not be an influencer. You might not influence anybody's decision making. You might not change anybody's mind about anything by stating a fact about something or stating the obvious, whatever it is. You need to figure out how to be skillful, which means we can measure your impact, you know.
Mm,
And I think that's where many of the young kids nowadays miss it. They're not developing a skill, they're just following a trend or enjoying the moment. And sometimes when they come into TV, rather than do the work, I see them want to be stars from day one. And I'm like, are you joking? Are you high? I remember there was this one lady called Lisa de Villiers. She was one of the first producers I worked with when I started to work with Africa Magic, with Mnet. And she pulled us aside. It was me and Kemi Adetima. She said to us, listen, industry standards, you guys are regarded as the talent, right? You are the talent of the show, which means you're special. She says you're not supposed to be stressed. You're supposed to be pampered. You're supposed to be taken care of, right? And that is your right. But she said to me, after saying that to me, she said to me, but if you go out there thinking to yourself that I am the talent, I'm meant to be pampered, I'm not meant to be stressed, what's going to happen is that your team will quickly hate you. So she said, do yourself a favor. You're just starting out, do yourself a favor. When you go to set, get involved. You see the crew packing up, give them a hand, pack up with them, right? Carry the lights, help the guys with the sound, don't be a diva with stuff. Figure out what you can do for yourself, do it, get in there and do the work. Two things will happen. You will learn what the other guys are doing. You will learn their craft, what it takes to do their jobs. And then you also learn how to deliver in a way that makes their lives easier. So if you take the two of us she spoke to, Kemi Adetima and I, what happened was Kemi, in the midst of helping out with sets, figured out how to be a great TV producer, a director. She eventually went to do some more school on it, and she became great at directing and producing content. Right? I also started helping out and stuff, and while doing that, I figured out several things. I know how to light a set, right? I know how to rig sound. I know how to give the sound guy the best work he needs. I know where to stand on any stage you put me on to give the light guy exactly what he needs, to give the camera guy the angles he wants. Because I was always there when they're setting up, and I listen when they talk. So my team is always looking out for me, and I'm always looking out for my team. Big shout out to Isaac Geralds.
Isaac Geralds.
Team on your timeline. Yeah, so don't come in there being a diva. Yeah, I sometimes hear a kid on TV or on radio say things like, "Oh, by the grace of God, I've been here 7 years." I'm like, 7 years, and you're fronting? You're flossing at 7 years. What is 7 years? Like, what would you do when you get to 20? Like, are you high on?
I saw one person that just blew from like the trend on Instagram, and she said, "Oh, in an interview, she said, as celebrities."
Oh, that's so cute. Like, yeah. That thing is so fickle. My mom was one who helped me get off that horse, that celebrity horse. She said to me, I remember I just bought my first brand new car. It was a Kia Sorento. And it was I was a kid at the time, so it was a big deal, I mean, people in Lagos were talking about it. It was like and this was way back when, right? So in entertainment, on radio, there was definitely nobody driving the car. And in entertainment, music and whatever, people weren't buying brand new cars. They were buying second-hand cars. They were flashy, but they were second-hand. So it made a lot of buzz. And my mother called me and she said to me, she said, "You know what? Don't get caught up in the lights. Never get caught up in the lights." So people tell you how much they love you. Said they don't know you, so they can't love you. It's not you they love. It's your car, it's your lifestyle, it's your job. And the minute any of that changes, these same people will cut you down in a heartbeat. Like you see with the cancel culture that's going on Twitter and on Instagram, how one minute they love someone, next minute there's a cry for everybody, cancel him, cancel him, cancel him. So there's you have to get past the lights and realize who you are as an individual. When all the lights are not on, when the camera isn't rolling, when people aren't watching, when the audience isn't there, that's who you are. Not when they're there starting, "Oh, I love you, I love you, I love your work, oh, your song is so amazing." That stuff means nothing. They'll change. Yeah. I mean, Hosanna today, crucified tomorrow, So they'll change your heartbeat. So
Wow, that is so profound because what we do here is we practically, like I told you, we equip people practically. So we don't say 7 ways to become the Canadian, 6 ways to, we don't do all that. Because you've been talking about self-development, consistency. You kept going to the station, consistency, self-improvement, learn about the craft. I actually always say that God gifts you with a talent, but it's never a gift till you give it away. You know
That's
what
right.
I'm saying?
That's
Yeah,
right.
you until you give it away, it will just be a talent in you. If you don't develop it into a skill and give it away, it's just useless, you know?
That's right.
I want you to talk to this culture because you were talking about culture on Twitter and everything. You, for a long time, were the host of a TV show that drives like the most traffic in the whole of like Nigeria. What am I saying, Nigeria? All through the year, you know, my friends here in America, they, what's going on in this? You know, what's going on in the show? And because they see some people. What I'm trying to say is there's a power we have with social media. We can use that power as the youth to change government, constitution, and what
That's
do
right.
you think is? Huh? What'd you say?
I said that's right.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Because I see so many things going on, especially in Nigeria, and you see all these people saying, "Man, I don't care, Jerry. What's my own, Jerry?" But when it comes to a TV show, they're ready to pay money, make one person trend. In Atlanta, you see them parking cars, giving T-shirts. Oh yeah, I vote for my person. And I'm like, you don't use the same power to change laws. You know, you just, what do you think is responsible and how can we change that so that the Nigerian youth can see they have power?
You know, I think getting out there on social media and getting this huge following, you sometimes get caught up in the, oh, they like me, they like me, they like me, and you're walking ahead. You feel like you're walking with a crowd, but the truth
Mm.
is, your greatest power is when you're not walking with the crowd, but you're walking ahead of the crowd, right? Where you're setting the
Come
standard
on,
for
break
everybody.
that down. Yes, yes. Break it
So
down. Break it
you're
down.
not in the pack enjoying the, oh, you're amazing, the praise and the shouting, but you're walking so far ahead that you can almost not, it's almost not in your
Down
ears,
here.
right?
Yeah.
You're about your business, about your purpose, right? And I think in that space, when you put the crowd far behind you, in that space, it affords you a sense of honesty that you won't get when you're in the midst of the noise.
Mm.
All right. So when you move further ahead and you're in that place alone, then you say
Mm.
to yourself, what do I believe in? What do I want? What do I really, really believe in? So for instance, as a principal, it doesn't matter how much money you offer me, I won't go on social media to promote a product that I know I wouldn't use.
Mm.
You understand what I mean? I wouldn't go out there to say, oh, I love this or I love this if I really don't subscribe to it just to get some money from you, right? Because I'm
Mm.
not looking for the crowd support, nor am I just looking to be a social media influencer. I want to speak words that can be vouched for, that I can say, yes, I said this, I
Said
believe
the
this,
word.
I did this. I'm very deliberate. I'm not one of those people who's trying to put out a post every day on social media, on Instagram, on Twitter. I want to be able to say, I said this and I stand by it, right? So when I do speak to a social issue, I will speak to just everything that is trend, you know, even if it's a good trend. Like, you know, now that they're fighting for instance, right now, what's trending is fighting for the girl child and women's rights. I won't speak to the issue just because everybody else is speaking to the issue. I'll only speak to it when, you know, if I'm convicted about it. Now, yes, I have spoken about those issues, but that's because I'm convicted about.
Yes.
I feel strongly about those things, right? But I won't speak to it just because everybody else is speaking to it.
Mm.
I'm not going to jump up when everybody else is speaking about an issue, say this, that, and the other. You should stand up for what you believe in. Now, when we do that, that's when what we say on social media will count and influence things and change governments. If you're one of those people whose vote or whose thoughts or voice can be bought because you're an influencer, right? I can pay you and you hold up this product and say, oh, this is the best product in the world, right? then your voice doesn't count with the crowd that's behind you. So even when you come out and say something that is valid and that should be strong, and say this government needs to be checked or needs to be held accountable, people are like, oh, we wonder who paid for that particular statement,
Mm.
because we know you to be commercial with your statements, right?
Mm.
So
So no
in this
integrity.
generation, I mean, we're very heavy on social media, but we have no weight. You
No
don't find
integrity.
that the government is panicking in Nigeria over something somebody's tweeting. They're like, yeah, whatever. Because we know that tomorrow we'll buy that tweet, we'll buy that timeline for some money and move you in the direction that we want you to go. So the same way, you've got to become a voice that people know to be true. You don't say things on social media that you haven't checked out and verified for yourself.
Mm.
Don't spread any rumors. Don't spread stories that you just heard that are trend. Don't jump on a campaign to accuse somebody of something if you haven't verified the story. Don't jump out there and talk about something the government is doing unless you've read up on it and you understand it truly. Don't follow trends. Set them
Mm.
instead.
Wow, don't follow trends, set them. That is, listen, I was speaking to a young person that's like an influencer, and I said, why aren't you lending your voice to a couple of things that's going on? Guess what the person said? When I post stuff like that, people don't like it, so I delete it. So it
Yeah.
doesn't get like 10,000 likes or whatever, so they delete that one because, and then it's like we all have a problem because the people like it and the people post it, because when you post something that makes sense, they won't like it. But when you put something really silly, then they like that.
You know what's crazy? People are so used to tapping the like button that they can see something that they are appalled by and like it just to say I've noticed this, and they don't even understand that it's almost endorsing it.
Validation, yeah.
You understand? And it's just the truth. If I were to speak to you about a topic that made you uncomfortable as Bookie, something that made you, cringe, or like really think about it again, you wouldn't be so keen to say, "Oh, that's lovely, great." You'd
Mhm.
step back for a second, but that would probably be the most helpful thing for you at the time.
Mm,
If it's something touchy that maybe has stopped your progress on the job, and I need to
mm,
speak to you about maybe a bad attitude, and I look like
mhm,
you have a bad attitude, you don't react well to the crowd or to your colleagues, people in the office are not happy with you. Now it's an uncomfortable conversation to have, but what it
but it's
does is it puts
illegal.
you in a better place tomorrow to make progress. But the same way, you find that nowadays, if you're a social media person, you're big on social media and you're fun on social media, you're not keen to post things that make people uncomfortable,
Mm,
because you worry about how they feel. You don't want to offend them, or you worry about the fact that, oh, they might not enjoy this on your timeline. They might stop watching, and they might stop liking, and they might stop, hitting the subscribe button. But the
mm,
truth is, you should only speak about the things you believe in, not the things you think people will enjoy, but the things you believe in.
poor.
You should stand by what you say. If you say it and you mean it, you believe it, you feel it, stand by it, even if it's not popular.
Popular. Exactly. Exactly. Even if it's not popular. You've been talking about these things, and someone is at home saying, okay, my mind is in the right place. I just don't know how to get there. So tell us how you mentally, because it's practical tools, right? When you were rejected at the radio station over and over, how did you get to that point of, I'm going to be resilient. I'm not going to give up. How did you, because, it's not, we're saying the stories and someone is like, I just want to get to that point. What did you do? Like, practically that made you say, I'm not giving up.
All right, I'll tell you what I did. I did. Okay?
Hmm.
I did. That's what I'm saying. I did. I didn't say, I didn't think, I didn't wish, I did.
Did.
There are too many people out there who are hoping, and in Nigeria, there's a big culture of, oh, I need a connection. I need somebody to hook me up. I need somebody to recommend me. Everybody's always constantly looking for a connection.
Mhm.
Um, I didn't wait for the connection. I did. So apart from this radio station where I sat in the reception for 3 months, I went to every other privately owned radio station in Lagos. Everyone. Every single one. Even the ones I wasn't super keen on, I went to them too. And that's if you live in Lagos, you know that someone on the island, someone on the mainland, someone on the after mainland, which is like almost out of state, right?
Wow.
With barely any money, without any support, I went to all these stations. I fought. I sat in receptions. I spoke to hundreds of people just to get to the one person that I maybe really needed to speak to, you know, in each of those places. I did. I did sit around hoping. I did. I remember my first TV audition for that channel, the channel that I worked for quite a few years. I got there. There were 250 something of us there. Now, of the number, I was probably the only unknown face. I was young. Yes, I was on the radio, but nobody knew me. It was full of actors, actresses, established TV presenters, you know, former TV presenters, you know, established radio presenters. They were big names. And when I got there, I remember feeling so intimidated because everywhere I looked, I saw somebody I admired, somebody I had dreamt of being, somebody I thought, you know, was already established. And in my mind, I'm like, why am I here in the midst of these people I love and respect? I'm not qualified to sit in the same room as these guys, you know? So in my mind, imagine walking into a room, right? And you see, I don't know who you admire on TV as a TV host or as a radio or TV presenter, and you see these people sitting in the room.
I see Oprah.
You see Oprah. Imagine you go for an audition and you see Oprah sitting there. You almost feel like saying, you know, I don't.
No, don't worry. I'm okay.
I'll leave. You know, so I got there, and that was my feeling. I was intimidated by the number of people that were there. But I noticed something. They were all so good at what they do. They were relaxed, and they weren't fighting anymore. They weren't hungry anymore. So they had given us a script that we were going to present. They had glossed over it, and some of them had memorized it. You know, some of them had made it their own, and now they were all just having conversations with each other because these are experienced TV presenters, right? I was new and I was hungry, so I didn't chill, I didn't hang out, I didn't get autographs, I didn't take pictures and selfies, I didn't start getting contacts and trying to make connections. I went to the back of the building, sat down with my script, put my face in that script, and I went through it 100 times. I was just going over and over. I didn't just read it, I was presenting out loud to myself. I would face the wall and I would do it to the wall and say, oh, that doesn't sound natural. Let's do that again. I'll do it again. And I say, oh, that doesn't sound like me. Let me do that again. Oh, that doesn't sound like I understand what I'm saying. What am I saying here? I was doing that till they got to me. Yeah? It looked crazy to anybody who was watching, and you have to kind of let go of your pride to be rehearsing the script in front of people like that, because you know these people had it. They were fine. Guess what? Only 2 of us walked out of that place with the jobs. It was me and it was Kemi Adetiba, right? We were the only ones, not the established faces, not the actors, not the radio presenters, not the TV presenters. You know why? Because they got there feeling too cool for school. Instead of doing the work, they were hanging out and catching up. I did the work, you know, and I got the job. So I think many people today need to just have that same doing culture. Stop talking. You know, I want to be a radio presenter. I want to be a radio presenter. Which radio station have you applied to? You know, whenever people come to me and like, oh, I need help getting my song on the radio, I'm like, which radio station have you taken your song to? And they're like, well, I haven't taken it yet. I need a connection. I'm like, yeah, I can't help you. I won't even spend my resources, my time, or my effort to put anything towards yours. If you can't do it for you, why should I? You know, if you can't try, why should I try for you? You know, you're lazy. No.
Wow. Wow. So you're saying hunger here. Well, let me see.
It's a state of
Hunger
mind.
is what? What'd you say?
Hunger. It's a state of mind, not a state of satisfaction. Hunger. Keep your hunger.
So I can be fulfilled and satisfied and accomplished and still be hungry because it's a state of mind.
That's right. Ever since that audition, ever since that particular audition, since I realized these guys are established and this is how they're behaving, every audition I've gone for after that, I've had the same attitude. I take my script, I go into it, I eat it up till it becomes a part of me. I don't go at it like, oh, I've been on radio 15, I've been on radio 18 years, or I've been on TV. No, I come at it like this is my one shot, this is my chance, this is my one opportunity. I don't come at it like, oh, I've been doing this, I've got this. No, I come at it like this may be the last chance I get. Do you understand? And I fight everybody. I come at it fighting. You know, I see the new guy who's coming for the job, and I'm not giving him room like, oh, go ahead. I'm fighting for this job just as much as you. You don't want to see me in an audition room. I'm hungry. You know,
Wow.
hungry.
Did you go to like a school for this, or it's natural? Because I went to school in Hollywood for what you're talking about. These were the practical steps they told us. When we get a script for auditioning, go and face the wall. And you're saying this, did you know about it, or it was just natural?
I didn't know about that. I won't lie to you. I didn't go. I wasn't qualified for this when I started out. A lot of
Wow.
I learned the way, and yeah, I've been for 1 or 2 classes and courses here and there along the way that I feel have helped me round out my personality and my discipline. And wherever I find a chance to do one of those, I do it because you have to stay learning. You have to keep learning. You know, so one of the things I'm most grateful for has been my relationship with Mnet, because when they hired me, they spent a lot of time investing in us in team buildings and trainings, and they would bring in established actors, established TV presenters to teach us, you know, and I think that's really helped me, learning from people who have graced the stage and done well on the stage, you know.
Wow. I had to pay thousands of dollars to learn what you know in Hollywood. No, for real, my teacher would say it out. If you ever think you can just read a script, say it, let your ears hear it. So you can say, no, I don't want that. I don't want to say it like that. You know? And now you now have it naturally. No, but really, man, you're giving us nuggets that, you know, these are the things we need. Okay, so tell us one time that a door shut in your face and you cried. And you cried and you said, you know what? Maybe this is not really for me, apart from the radio. You know that it shut, it was the door you were expecting, you had worked for it, and then it just shut in your face. And what you did.
There have been quite a few. I'm trying to figure out which one would, which story. There have been quite a few. So there was this one time, for instance, I'd heard that the show Idols that was coming to Nigeria. You know, I'd hosted a few things on radio. I had chased up. I had done some stuff on TV as well. I had gotten some popularity. I had done, by my estimation, a decent job so far, and I really wanted that job. I really wanted the job. So they said to me, "Oh, Idols is coming out. We think you stand a good chance of doing it, and you just need to audition." So I auditioned, and I gave the audition my 100. You know, I tried. I gave it everything. I think I was also very nervous in my audition because even though I had been on TV, this was, in a sense, my dream. You know, hosting this particular show, because a lot of people had told me when I found it on TV, "Oh, you remind me of Ryan Seacrest. You would do so well." Blah blah blah. You know, so I thought, "Oh wow, this would actually be a chance to host a show that he has hosted." You know, so I gave it everything. I went in that audition hungry. I studied the script. I made it my own. You know, I spent my time to make sure I came through. I gave all the skills I had developed over time, looking straight into the camera, being personable, being audible, projecting, all that stuff. I gave it everything. And the audition finished, and they told me almost immediately that you're not going to get this job. Oh my God. I was like, why? You know, and they was just like, you know, we're not feeling you for this job. And I was crushed because for me, this was the biggest job I had ever applied for in terms of presenting. It was also a job I had dreamt about, I had desired. I thought it would be a sense of fulfillment to me to have this job. And I remember being heartbroken about it. But I just thought, you know what, I'll just go back to my life and to all the other things I'm doing. And I'm so glad that I did get it. because idols did come to Nigeria. Somebody else did get the job, but the show only lasted 1 year. Yeah.
Mm.
And the way TV kind of works, you have seasons on and off, right?
Mm.
If you come off one season, it's not likely that you're going to jump on to the next season or the next cycle. In other words, if you're the host of Idols, it's not likely that when another big show comes, that you'll get to be the host of that one too. It's not likely. You know, it's not impossible, but it's not likely. So they came to Nigeria. There was a lot of fuss about them, and that was the show that produced names like Timmy Dakolo or Malcolm.
Yeah.
Quite a few people that were that are still popular on the radio, or on in music. You know, after that show ended, there was one more audition, and this time it was for Big Brother. Look, oh, I came at that audition with the kind of desperation that I think was probably not even helped. So I did the audition again for Big Brother this time, and that door also shut in my face. It's semi-shut in my face, right? So I did the audition. Everybody else who came out did theirs as well. I remember I got to the second stage where it was the interview stage, and the lady says to me, the lady who was doing the interview says to me, "A few people have spoken highly of you." So in my mind, I'm like, "Oh, this job is mine. This job is mine." She's like, "A few people have spoken highly of you. Quite a few people who've worked with you speak very highly of your work ethic. You know, they say good things about you. They said that you're a great presenter also on TV, you know, and you come across nicely." So in my mind, I'm smiling and I'm feeling comfortable. Then she says to me, "So because of how many people were fighting for you to get this job, I went to go watch your footage and I didn't like you." I'm like, "What?" I'm like, "Oh, wow." She's like, "I didn't like you. I didn't really like you at all. And I don't know that you're the person for this job." And I just thought, why did you call me here if this is what you wanted to say to me? That's what the first thought that crossed my mind was, why did you bring me here to tell me I'm not worth it? Do you understand? But the second thought that crossed my mind was, if you're here and she has the say so, she's the person with the decision. She has the right to the discretion. She can decide to or decide not to. Then this is your audition. This is your chance. This is where you will win this battle. So I just went in. I said, "Well, let me tell you about myself." And I started talking. Lord, I started talking. I told her everything about my life and why I'm the perfect person to host a show that has to do with people from different parts of life. I told her about how I've lived in different parts of Nigeria and different parts of the world, because my dad was in the army, and how we moved to England and moved back, how he moved to Zimbabwe and moved back, how we moved to about 8 different states in Nigeria, and how I've always been the new kid in school, and how I've learned to make friends really quickly, and how I can associate with anybody, and how I don't judge people, and how I'm tolerant of different tribes and religions and different customs and beliefs, and how I can understand people and relate with them and give them a shoulder to cry on and interrogate issues without being offensive. And by the time I was done, she was like, "Now that's what I was hoping to see in your audition, which I never saw." And she was like, "Okay, fine. You know, I'll check out a few other people and you'll hear from us later." They called me 2 hours later saying, "You have the job." And I hosted that show for 6 years, you know, and it was my biggest break in TV in terms of the fact that it's in 40 million homes across Africa. You know, there isn't a country I've traveled to in Africa where I didn't receive some favor, some love, or you know, some grace just because I had been on that show. So that was my greatest opportunity, I think.
Wow. We have 5 minutes more.
Ooh,
So
sorry.
no, it's perfect. I'm thinking about this question that I want to ask. I don't know if it will take more than 5 minutes, so that's what I'm contemplating.
I'll be quick.
My dad says, never let your talent get you to where your character can keep you. What is the role of character? Because you are the untouchable Ike. Everybody, I mean, hearing you say all these things, I'm like, it's not true. You know, they say prepare like you didn't prepare. Make it look like it was easy. So you do it so well. We're like, yeah. So like was almost,
I
but
almost didn't make it.
huh?
I said I almost didn't make it in. To many of these things I do now. It's always a fight. It's always a hustle. I think your dad was spot on with that statement. I usually say your gift will open doors to you, but it's your skill that will keep you there, right?
Mm,
But in all honesty, I've seen people who are gifted and who are skilled who have
kicked out.
terrible character. And so when there's the opportunity for somebody to do something which is over and above the requirement for you because they don't like your character, they refuse to.
Mm,
The way I tell it to younger presenters I mentor is that every presenter will have a chance in his life where your team saves you from disaster, where you don't know
mm,
what's going on, or where something is blindsiding you, and your team will catch it and save you. But if you've
mm.
offended them because you have bad character, they'll let you run into that wall. You know.
Wow. Wow. 2 minutes more. Tell us what you're working on.
I don't know if I should say this here.
I want you to be yes. You said it here first.
Oh, okay. I'm developing a platform, a media platform that will see other IKs being born and birthed, and that should hit the airwaves within the next year. I can't tell you exactly what it is yet, but I've gone from being a player in the team to owning the team.
Yes, 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 yes. Me, I can present or invite me to come and do it. Listen, man, we love you so much. Thank you for taking time out to be here at Bouqui'S Place. If you were to throw everything away, every experience, every money made, every fight, every single experience, and hold on to one, which one would it be?
It would be family, family over everything. I would give up entertainment in a day if it meant protecting my family.
Wow. Wow. Family is everything. Well, I'm your family, oh, don't forget. We've all stood and both together. Well, thank you
Thank you for
so much,
having me.
man.
Thank you so
Thank
much.
you so much. If I were, oh, Bouquie, now go. Okay. Okay. I was going to ask you a question. I have 1 minute left, but okay, thank you so much for coming to Bouquie's Place. And tell us something unforgettable. Tell us something unforgettable. By the way, why did you leave a Big Brother?
No, the show wasn't being done anymore, and so we had to do other things. But I also wanted to produce my own TV shows. Something
Okay.
unforgettable, I'll tell you, is that God makes and establishes. It's not your gift, it's not your talent, it's not your skill. God makes and He establishes. So lean on God.
Wow. The race is not to the swift, the battle is not to the strong, honor is not to the man of skill, it is time and chance that happen to them all. Thank you
That's
so
right.
much. Thank you,
Thank you for having me.
Thank you so much for coming to Bouquie's
Thanks,
Place.